Hi, I'm Rosie and I make stuff. In this video I thought I'd share with you my process for sizing up a paper pattern from an original vintage pattern. I'm starting off with this roll of wallpaper I found in the understair cupboard of my new house, so hooray for free paper. It's a little bit disgusting on the outside roll, so I'm just cutting that bit off. It's actually surprisingly thick and I wouldn't choose this for patterning, but it is big and free and available, so let's go. Just rolling it over the table here to stop it from rolling up and weighing it down with a handy portable speaker there. So this is the pattern I'll be sizing up today. It's a Leachway Blouse number 12206. It dates from the 40s and has a lovely embroidery design, which still has the transfer included and has never been used. Typical 1940s style, it's very simple, it's blocky, it has a little bit of tucks to give sort of blouse on rather than shaping, and it has no collar because that was extra fabric that wasn't really available in rationing. With these types of pattern, you don't find out the size until you open it up and see what's on the tissue. So this is a bust 32 and it's a one size pattern. Each piece is pre-cut and unprinted except for the one piece here that shows the pattern information. So on this pattern it says no turnings allowed, and I learned the hard way that this means no seam allowance. Just carefully unfolding each pattern piece to make sure they're all there. This pattern is in such good condition, I doubt it's ever been used. It has information punched onto the paper to indicate, like here, gathering, centre front, and these can be transferred onto the pattern. Now I'm really carefully going to draw around my pattern piece in pencil. I don't really want to get any pen marks on the original. I'm using a straight ruler for the straight edges, and I would use my French curve for the curved parts, but I have no idea where it is at the moment, so I am just freehanding and I can tidy those bits up later on. I'm also adding on all the notches, notations and darts and gathering and all the information that I need to make up the pattern piece. I'm not adding the pattern number and size information at this time because these aren't going to be the final pieces. After that, each pattern piece can be folded up and placed back into its little acid-free baggie for storage to keep it nice and safe. So I've copied over all the pattern pieces, even ones I'm not planning to size up. There is a pattern piece for the shoulder pads because 1940s. But I don't need bigger shoulder pads in my life, but it is included for completeness. So while I'm drawing out these pattern pieces, it might be a good time to mention here that I am behind the scenes working on videos, but I think they're going to be more like this video, sort of like a small snapshot of part of the sewing process rather than big long sewing videos, because they take a long time, they take a lot of energy, and I don't think it's that fun to watch, if I'm honest. I think sewing YouTube videos should be a learning experience and have like a deep dive into a little sort of aspect of sewing I think is better to learn from. So if you like that idea, then let me know. If you don't, also let me know. And as always, I'll follow your feedback. Anyway, back to the video. I'm noting the darts here and drew the stitch line to make it a bit clearer. This is also a good time to note that not all punch marks are accurate on these patterns. Here the dart is a little squiffy. After double checking the pattern, I decided just to correct it into a straight line. There is another error on this particular pattern for the buttonhole placement, but I can easily fix that and place the buttons wherever I really need them to be. After that, I cut out my pieces. This paper is so thick and curly, I don't recommend it. Try for thinner paper. my speaker is getting a starring role in this video. So now we need to do some maths, and with all good maths, it's written on the back of an envelope. So our original is a 32 bust around the bust circumference, and I would like to upsize it to a 36 bust, which is a 4-inch increase. The circumference around the bust is broken into 4 quarters, so we need to add 1 inch to each quarter. And each quarter is represented by our pattern pieces for the front and the back. So each piece is going to be split into 4 parts, so this increase is evenly distributed by a 1/4 inch for each divide. I'm going to start with the back piece, so I'm just going to use a ruler to draw 4 lines, and I've upgraded to a pen, so now you can see a little bit more clearer what I'm doing. 1 line in the arm area, and 1 in the neck close to the edges of the pattern piece. Then 2 in the shoulder, 1 in the gathering area and 1 out of the gathering area. And these can be placed strategically to avoid any darts. And I do exactly the same for the front piece. I've been fairly loose with the placement of these so far, however now we need to use these pieces as reference point for the other pieces where we're going to size up. So now that I've added an increase into the arm's eye, we need to add an increase into the sleeve. So we do this by matching the notches as best we can and adding it in. These are the only increases we need for the sleeve, as I haven't added any length to the shoulder to increase the top of the sleeve head. Next, for the front yoke, with 1 increase in the gathering and 1 outside the gathering, we need to match up the notches and add the increase. Even small pieces, which you're not quite sure what they are, work out where they connect and match the notches. This is another shoulder yoke piece. There are actually 2 different yoke parts on this particular blouse. And finally into the front facing pieces where we added in a little bit extra. Now we need fresh paper. And we need to cut down each pattern piece along the lines that we've drawn. And do this one at a time so you don't get mixed up. And if it helps, write on numbers so you know which order they go in. I'm going to use the back piece as an example now. I have my pattern pieces all in order and some sellotape on hand. I start with the centre back piece and stick it to the fresh paper. Now I'm going to draw around the edge of this piece just to save time. Going to my next piece, I want to carefully add a 1/4 inch gap and sellotape it down, making sure the top and the bottom are in line. Draw around your extra pattern piece and add any notches or notations. Then keep going, adding each strip with a 1/4 inch gap and sellotaping it down. I'm having some difficulty with my darts here. It's best to punch a little hole through so you can make the mark easier with the pen. I did learn from faffing around. You should actually be using an awl to punch through paper patterns like this, but I'm just using the tip of my pen, which I don't recommend. It busts your pen. So it worked at a pinch though. And always keep measuring, making sure none of the pieces have moved, so you've got a nice accurate increase that's 1/4 of an inch all the way along. And of course, if your sizes are different, then it won't be 1/4 of an inch. You'll have to work out the total increase divided by 4, then divide by 4 again. And if it works better in centimetres, then go for it. I don't think using fractions is all that fun, but for quarters I can just about work out. But anything other than 1/4 of inches, I'm gonna go to centimetres because I'm British. That's the way my brain works. And adding on the last pattern piece there with all my notches, and then we've got to do the fun part, which is taking this off. This sellotape has quite a low tack to it, so it does not damage the paper. I can add on all the more information, the centre back, the gathering, put on the dart thingies, because they are weird inverted darts, which are interesting, and shore up any lines that are a bit squiffy, and the, what they're called, I've already forgotten, notches, and add on the notches. And then the most important part, which is adding on all the pattern information. So pattern name, pattern number, the pattern piece number, sizing information, the fact that it used to be a 32, now it's a 36, so you know that it's not quite the original one. And you do this for all your pattern pieces and cut them out, and you have a brand new pattern in a brand new size. Oh, and add no seam allowance onto every piece in capital letters outlined, because you need to know that before you do anything with paper, with your fabric. I've learned the hard way for that one. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this little video, and if you'd like to subscribe or leave a like or a comment, then please feel free. I'll see you next time. Bye.